Whenever someone asks me what credit card they should get, I start telling them about the Chase Trifecta, how they get the Freedom Unlimited with the 1.5% and the Flex with the rotating categories, or they could get the Amex cards, but those come with annual fees. And then they're like, what are you talking about? Can't I just get one credit card? And that's what this video is here for. I'm going to show you the best one card setups that'll cover all of your basic needs. And I know it sounds weird, but most of these credit card YouTubers view credit cards as a hobby because it's fun for them to collect all these different credit cards that cover all their different categories, and they feel like they're optimizing every part of their personal finances. But most people don't want to worry about all these cards and just want their finances simplified. And one thing you can do to help simplify your personal finances is subscribing to this YouTube channel, because I'm dropping the best personal finance videos every single week. So these first two credit cards are pretty much the same, but there's a couple key differences between them. And in my opinion, these are the two most underrated and non-talked about credit cards in the game, because they pretty much cover every single one of your spending categories, and they come with no annual fee. And these cards come from AAA. As far as I know, you don't need a AAA membership to get these cards, so you can just go and apply for them. So the first is the Daily Advantage Visa Signature. That's a bit of a mouthful, but I promise you the rewards with this card are the best in the world. So the first thing that it's going to give you is 5% back on all your grocery purchases, which is a really good amount because a lot of grocery store cards are just going to give you 2, 3, or 4%. So this already beats out 90% of grocery cards by giving you that 5% back. It's also going to throw in 3% back at gas stations, electric vehicle charging stations, wholesale clubs, streaming services, pharmacies, and your purchases at AAA, and then 1% back on everything else. And like I said, this is a no annual fee card, and it's also not going to charge you any extra fees for using it overseas. So this is a great card if you're spending a lot of money on groceries, but the only thing that it lacks is it doesn't give you any money for cash back at restaurants or fast food. But if we look at the twin brother of this card, it's going to patch all those holes. And this is the AAA Travel Advantage Visa Signature. And in my opinion, this is literally the most underrated card in the world because it's going to give you 5% back at gas stations and EV charging, and then 3% back on travel, restaurants, grocery stores, and your purchases at AAA, as well as 1% back on everything else. And you get all of that without having to pay an annual fee or any foreign transaction fees. So this card's very similar to the other card, but instead of getting 5% back on groceries, you're getting 5% back on gas. It's also going to give you 3% back on restaurants, which the Daily Advantage won't give you. So the Daily Advantage is going to be a lot better for you if you spend a lot of your money at grocery stores and less on gas and restaurants. And then the Travel Advantage card is going to suit you a lot better if you're spending most of your money on gas, and then you also like to eat out at restaurants. And just to sweeten the deal, they're going to give you $100 if you spend $1,000 within 3 months of opening the account. Now, the only thing that you might be able to knock this for is that sign-up bonus isn't as big as some of the other sign-up bonuses from other credit cards. But considering the amount of cash back you're getting, it's impressive that they even throw in a sign-up bonus in there in the first place. Also, these are Visa cards, so they're going to work with Costco gas. Now, this next card I'm going to talk about is a card that I'm really excited about, because as of right now, this card isn't even out. If you're watching this video a couple months after it comes out, it's probably already out. But this is a card that's going to give you 3% on every single one of your purchases no matter what. And that's the brand new Robinhood Gold card. Plus, it's one of the best looking cards in the world, and that's, let's be honest, one of the most underrated things about a credit card. We all have thrown a metal credit card down on that table. It's going to come in a super clean gold lug made of stainless steel, weighing 17 grams, making this one of the heaviest credit cards. This card has no annual fee, no foreign transaction fee, and gives you 3% back on everything. It'll also give you 5% when you book travel through Robinhood's travel portal. You also get a ton of benefits that come with holding a Visa card, like trip interruption protection, purchase security, auto rental collision damage, extended warranty protection, return protection, zero fraud liability, travel and emergency roadside, and my personal favorite, roadside dispatch. You can also add cardholders of literally any age, so that means that your newborn baby can have over an 800 credit score by the time he turns 18. Now, the only problem with this card is that you have to be a Robinhood Gold member to get this. And right now, I believe that's $5 a month, so it's more or less a $70 annual fee. But when you pay that $5 every month, you're getting Robinhood Gold. And I personally have Robinhood Gold ever since I turned 18. And I'm going to support Robinhood. I don't care how much hate I get for it, because they're the simplest and easiest brokerage account out there in my opinion. And every single year they're just getting better and better and innovating. You're also going to get 5% on all your uninvested cash, which I personally use as my high yield savings account because it's FDIC insured up to $2.25 million, which is millions of dollars more than 99% of other banks. And just to show you how powerful this 5% every year is going to be, if you throw in $10,000 after 1 year, you're going to have over $512. But if you put your savings into 99% of other savings account, you're only going to have $60.20. That's almost $500 for just putting your money in the savings account. And that right there will pay for the annual fee 5 times over. So super solid card, and I can't wait for this to come out. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I already have an unboxing and review on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Now the next card I want to talk about, I see other people talking about it, but not as a solo card. They're always talking about it supplementing other cards, but I think if you use this card by itself, it can be one of the most powerful cards to have in your wallet. And this is the no annual fee Chase Freedom Flex. You're going to get a really nice bonus of $200 when you spend $500 in the first 3 months, which is one of the easiest sign-up bonuses I've ever seen. You're also going to get 0 APR for 15 months on purchases and balance transfers. So that means if you have to carry over a balance, which I wouldn't suggest, that's a trap set up by credit card companies, you're not going to pay any interest. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a no annual fee credit card, so you're not going to have to pay anything for holding this. You're going to get 3% back on dining, 3% back on drugstore, and then 5% back on travel when booked through Chase Travel's portal, and then 1% back on everything else. But one of my favorite things about this card is every quarter you're going to get new categories that'll give you 5% back. And these are the best categories out of any other rotating category credit cards I've ever seen. Because usually you're not getting one rotating category, you're getting 3. For example, through January to March, you'd get 5% back on grocery stores, fitness club, gym memberships, spa, and self-cares. In April to June, they gave you 5% back on Amazon, hotels, and restaurants. And they have yet to announce what's coming next quarter. And these will stack on top of each other. For example, you're getting 3% back on dining with this card, but then you're also going to get 5% back on the rotating categories for restaurants. So you'll get 8% back this quarter for all your restaurant purchases. And also, if in the future you decide that you want to get an additional credit card, you can get one of the Chase Sapphire cards, which opens up the travel portal so you can use all your cash back towards travel. Now, this next card is really under the radar. I only see a couple of creators talking about it, and when I went into the bank who's affiliated with this card, the banker didn't even know about this card until I told him. And that is the Kroger Rewards World Elite MasterCard. Another mouthful there, but I promise you, the amount of cash back you're going to be earning is worth it. This card's going to give you 1% back on everything, and then 2% back inside the Kroger store. But what really makes this card special is it's going to give you 5% back on all your mobile wallet purchases. This means that every single time that you use Apple Pay, or if you're one of those weird green bubble people, you'll get 5% back when you use your Samsung mobile wallet or Google Pay. And the only thing that really nerfs this card is you're only getting that 5% back on mobile wallet purchases for your first $3,000. But even after that, you're still going to get 2% back on everything, which is the same amount that the Apple credit card's going to give you. So this is definitely a super solid card that you might want to consider adding to your wallet and can serve as your only credit card if you're using Apple Pay a lot, which most people are. This next card comes from the most popular credit card company, and you've definitely seen their TV commercials or other YouTube videos talking about these credit cards. And while I'm actually not a huge fan of most of their cards, I think their Blue Cash Everyday card is super underrated. The first thing that it's going to give you is $200 as a sign-up bonus when you spend $2,000 within 6 months, as well as 0 APR on purchases and balance transfers for the first 15 months. So as far as rewards go, you're going to get 3% back on groceries and supermarkets, 3% back on online retail purchases, 3% back at US gas stations, and then 1% back at everything else. So this is a solid credit card because it'll give you a flat 3% back on most of your biggest categories, but there's really only 2 that this is lacking, which is travel and then dining. So if you like to travel a lot and don't want to get a separate travel credit card, or if you're eating at restaurants or fast food places a lot, this might not be the best card for you. But if that's not as big as a deal and you don't want to pay that $70 annual fee for the Robinhood Gold card, this card might not be a bad alternative. So definitely a solid card if you like American Express, you want to earn a nice little sign-up bonus, and can utilize those 3% back categories. But I don't think that card compares to the last 3 cards on this list. Now this next card comes from a bank that not a lot of people talk about in the credit card space, but I am seeing this card gain a little bit of popularity, and more people are starting to realize that this is a really good card. And that's the PNC Cash Rewards Visa card. And the reason that I like this card is number 1, it gives you a really nice sign-up bonus of $200 when you spend $1,000 within 3 months, which is really easy to spend. But I think the rewards for this card is really where it stands out, because you're going to get 4% back on gas stations, 3% back on dining, 2% back on grocery stores, and then 1% back on everything else. And also another underrated thing about this credit card is you're going to get cell phone protection as long as you pay your cell phone bill with this credit card. And that's really nice because I know when I bought my iPhone, I was paying a bunch of money to get insurance on my cell phone, but I didn't realize that a lot of credit cards do that for free. And this will cover your iPhone up to $800 even if it gets stolen. And $800 is really nice. I know a lot of other credit cards like SoFi is only going to give you $500. So nice that you get a whole $800. And PNC is a pretty popular bank, so if you're already banking with them, not a bad idea to get this card. Now this next card is a lot like one of the cards that we mentioned earlier in this video, but it comes from a bit more reputable credit union. And this is Alliance Visa Signature card. One of the cleanest card designs on this list, I gotta say. I'm really liking that matte black look, but we're here for the rewards. This is gonna be a 0 annual fee card, and it's gonna give you 2.5% back on all your purchases up to $10,000. And another great benefit is this is a 0 foreign transaction fee card, so you can use it overseas. But there's one catch with this credit card, and to get that 2.5%, you're gonna have to do 2 things. Have a transfer go into the account, which can be a direct deposit, an ATM deposit, mobile deposit, or a transfer from another bank. And this isn't that hard to do, but the kicker is that you have to have at least $1,000 daily average. So hypothetically, you could just leave $1,000 and every month transfer some money in from your different bank. But this whole video is to simplify your credit cards, not give you extra steps. But the reason that I add this in is because Alliant is one of my favorite credit unions. And if you don't know anything about banks and credit unions, 9 times out of 10, credit unions are going to be way better than banks. And Alliant's one of my favorite ones. It gives you over 3% on all your money in the savings account, gives you 0.25% on money in your checking account, and in my opinion has the best online banking out of any credit union. So if you're looking for a credit union to switch to, I definitely recommend joining Alliant Credit Union and getting this credit card. Also, it used to give you 3% back, but then it bumped down to 2.5% during COVID, I believe. But I think after that Robinhood Gold card comes out, you're going to get 3% back on everything. That's just a prediction. That might not be true, but we'll see. And regardless, this is still a great credit card. Now, this last card on the list has a special place in my heart because it comes from a credit union that I actually made my first video about. And talking about this credit union and this credit card specifically is what got me started here on YouTube. And this does come from a credit union, but unlike Alliant, there's nothing you have to do to get all these rewards. You can just open up a free checking account and then leave it and not do anything with it. For a sign-up bonus, this card's going to give you 15,000 points if you spend $1,500 in 90 days. 5 points on gas station and EV charging, 3 points on supermarkets, restaurants, TV, radio, cable, and streaming services. And what's cool is this includes Walmarts and Targets in that 3% category, which almost no other credit cards do. And there's a pre-qualification program, so you can see how high the limit you're going to get and if you're going to be approved for this card before you get it. So this is going to be a lot like those AAA cards I talked about in the beginning of the video, but the only reason this might be better is because it's going to give you a really high credit limit. Even if you have bad credit, because this is a credit union, they can work with you on that. And I've seen people with lower credit scores get upwards of $10,000 to $20,000. And I forgot to mention, you're going to get 0 APR on purchases and balance transfers for the first year. You also get cell phone protection with this card, so another benefit, and this is 0 annual fee. But if you redeem it for travel, you're going to get 1 cent per point. So not a horrible rate regardless. 0.85% isn't that bad and still higher than a lot of other credit cards, but you're going to be able to squeeze a little bit more value if you redeem these points for travel. I've made a full breakdown if you want to learn more about PenFed, and make sure to let me know which cards I've missed down in the comments and what do you think are some of the best one card setups.